Welcome into the podcast. I'm Brett,
I'm Dorian.
and we got some nerd news for you.
We sure do. So, what we're going to be talking about this week is some new DC movies that might be coming to HBO Max exclusively. Ray Fisher will no longer be playing Cyborg in the DCEU. Cobra Kai season 3. But first things first, Brett,
Yeah,
the day has come where we are getting a Rubik's Cube movie.
I think we've officially ran out of ideas as far
Uh,
as on
I'm
a human
pretty,
race
I'm
level.
pretty sure we have. Yeah, yes, we are not joking. This is actually happening, and the one of the strangest things about this announcement is it doesn't actually tell you what this movie actually is going to be. Is it going to be an animated movie about sentient Rubik's cubes or something? Is it going to be like the history about or the story behind how the Rubik's cube got made, or like the people who who go to competitions and like solve the Rubik's cube in like blazing fast fashion and all
hmm
that. We have no idea, but Hollywood just thought that, hey, it's a great idea for us just to announce this Rubik's Cube movie and have no other details about it here. So yeah, but apparently they insisted that this movie was needed. So
Yeah. I guess I hope it is. I don't know. I can see it being like a documentary, but I don't see it being anything else.
right, and that's kind of my thought process as to like, okay, why would this actually get made out of anything else here? If there's like an interesting story behind, you know,
How
how
it
the
came to
Rubik's
be.
cube,
Yeah.
yeah, how it came to be, um, or even like things like, like I don't know, there might have been like a story about like some championship Rubik's cube uh player or whatever they're called here, speed
Right.
cubers, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
uh I'm like, okay, that might be possibly interesting. I don't know. I mean, apparently everybody loves Queen's Gambit, and that's about chess here, so who
Yeah.
knows?
Haven't seen
But
it, but sure.
I haven't either here, but yeah, I mean, but I just thought that it's like the people at Hollywood, the guys who run multi-million dollar businesses, said like, yeah, no, let's just announce that we're just making this movie. No other details. Like it's fine.
Yeah.
So have at it.
Yep. Just don't make it about killer Rubik's cubes and Mark Wahlberg fighting them or something. That'd be too much.
Now I kind of want that actually.
And then we have some more movie news with HBO Max getting more exclusives, specifically from DC. That being the Batgirl and Static Shock movie that we have had rumored for a while.
Right.
Um, Apparently, they're kind of moving forward, and these are looking to be just strictly on HBO Max.
Yeah, according to DC Films president Walter Hamada, basically he went on and said that Static Shock and Batgirl have strong potential to basically become HBO Max exclusives. So, but they will still connect to the DC live action movies. And he goes on to say that the smaller budget allows the projects to be, less costly on HBO Max, and you also get more experimental, less traditional forms of storytelling with it being on HBO Max. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know how to take that last part, just because I mean, I hope they don't really skimp too hard on that budget, because I don't think Batgirl necessarily needs to have like a big budget in order for it to actually be decent. I
Mm-mm.
think Static, you might need to have like a decent amount of money behind that, just because there's going to be a lot more effects involved.
Yeah.
But hopefully this turns out to be something good here. I mean, just going to this format, who knows? I mean,
I
maybe
mean,
maybe
to me, it
not.
makes sense that they're just going to be on this platform because they're not big characters that are going to draw a crowd. Like nobody's
Yeah,
going to, not nobody, but not very many people are going to go out and be like, oh, I'm going to go see a Static Shock movie. Like they're few and
yeah,
far between people who even watched that show or read that comic growing up. So
right. Yeah, I mean, no, I mean it's not one of DC's big hitters here, but you know, yeah, I mean, who knows here? I mean, it could lead to like kind of a Guardians of the Galaxy situation where you have like something really obscure, but that's mostly just because Marvel's name was on it, and after the Avengers came out like 2 years earlier, everybody was like all about Marvel. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, no, I think you are correct in terms of like this being the best move for both of these movies, just because I think, especially when you had like a movie like Birds of Prey that
Yeah.
did not do like anything to move any numbers whatsoever. This is probably, I'm thinking, where that line of reasoning or thinking stems from.
I just think DC's completely out of touch with the fan base because who was wanting a Birds of Prey movie? I don't remember anyone saying, "Yeah, I want a Birds of Prey movie."
I mean, I could see them wanting a Harley Quinn movie, just because, I
Sure.
mean, there's a strong fan base for Harley Quinn, but I think just the fact that that this is like, launching, or the last thing we saw Harley Quinn in was like Suicide Squad, and most people were not like really on board with that. I think that's kind of the issue that maybe people were taking. I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Let's talk about some more HBO Max slash DC stuff with
yeah,
Ray Fisher, Cyborg from
yeah.
Justice League, is no longer in the Flash movie, which I think originally it was supposed to be kind of like a buddy cop movie, is what people are making it seem like.
That's what I was hearing initially on this movie, that it was going to be Flash and Cyborg. It was going to be a buddy cop movie. Cyborg was going to be kind of more of the tough, like stoic kind of guy, and Flash was going to be the snarky, wisecracking guy in that movie. But yeah, so apparently some news just broke about it today that Ray Fisher's role and cameo has been written out of the movie. He basically said that uh, the higher ups at DC Film, they basically told him to hit the road. So basically, this is he's basically done as Cyborg. I
I think
can't.
he's done as an actor with how badly he's handled all this,
I think it's a strong
at
possibility
least with
here,
Warner
but
Brothers, because I'm sure that's who his contract's actually through.
yeah,
But
I would imagine so. Yeah,
I mean, this is a lot of drama from a guy who I've never heard of before
yeah.
and who didn't do that great of a job in the movie.
Right. I mean, and so just to bring everybody up to speed on like what's going on here. So basically Ray Fisher has had a beef with Joss Whedon when he worked with him on Justice League a couple years back. He accused that Joss Whedon of being like racist, and like even said something along the lines that he went as far as to like change the tone of his skin in like the final edit of Justice League, which that's a wild accusation. I don't know about that one here, but apparently it even led to like this big investigation and all that here, and then he publicly called out the DC Films president Walter Hamada, and basically said that he's garbage. He doesn't. He's the worst kind
Great
of
recipe
guy.
to keep your job and
Right. Exactly. So I mean, and yeah, just based on all of this, I mean, yeah, he seems like a big drama queen, and like he's praised Joss Whedon initially, like doing pressers for Justice League, and then he like a couple years later, I think with all the Snyder Cut drama, and then all that, he kind of flip flopped, and then you know he's only made like two movies, like he's
that's
or
what I'm saying. Yeah,
been in two movies. Well, technically one, like Justice League. I mean, he had like
yeah.
a small cameo in Batman v Superman, like in that like
The
video footage that
the
Wonder
football
Woman's looking
game.
at.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then um and he's made like only a handful of TV shows, and he's already making demands like he's like some big shot.
yeah.
And honestly, I'm I'm more than fine with it, just because this guy legitimately did nothing to make an impact as
No,
Cyborg here, like in Justice League, and I'm fine with him being recast, just because I mean he was like, yeah, he was. pretty much forgettable in that movie.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we'll see. They're not, yeah, like we said, they're not going to recast him, so there's just not going to be any Cyborg going forward. It sounds like,
At
but
least,
who knows?
yeah.
They could, and I wouldn't care.
Yeah, I mean, well, and maybe we could actually, I don't know, get
Someone
actual
notable.
Cyborg, like because in Justice League he was just very stoic, very depressed all the time here. Not like, the Cyborg that we know from Teen Titans or like, other stuff here. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely a different take on the character.
Yeah.
And we got possibly the best news of the week this week, Dorian.
Oh, easily the
I mean,
best.
we've been talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League and other things for a long time, and hopefully we're towards the end. I mean, until the Snyder Cut comes out, but that might be the end of Zack Snyder with DC. Hopefully,
Yeah, so basically Zack Snyder, was recently, I think, doing press for his new zombie movie that's coming to Netflix, which I don't even know why he got a contract to make a movie like at all. But anyhow, so Zack Snyder says he's currently has no plans to make any more DC movies after the Snyder Cut gets released. He didn't rule out the possibility of coming back sometime in the future, though. Dot dot dot. So I, for one, stay the hell away from my superheroes in my childhood, Zack Snyder. You have done more than enough of your fair share of damage. And two, I find this very funny just because I'm old enough to remember when he was talking about making a potential sequel to the Snyder Cut, like back in November here.
yeah, not too long ago,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
not even that. I think it was multiple movies, is what people were. It was sounding like, not just a sequel.
yeah, I have no idea, but I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I like coming from Zack Snyder's point of view, like if I was like in his shoes where I worked on a movie and basically got snubbed at the very end and uh had like to go through like a long hard fought battle just to like get my version of the movie actually released. I get it. Like I would probably be kind of pissed about that too.
Yeah,
And I probably wouldn't want to work with the studio after that. But yeah, but I mean the thing is like, my gosh, it's like this is what happens when, you basically put somebody who, you know, has like who's talented in some areas but not talented in like the whole package, and you just give them the keys to like the kingdom basically. So
yeah, yeah. I'm glad he's not hopefully coming back. Let's make sure that happens, people.
let's all say a prayer right now.
And speaking of prayers, we need to pray for Dave Bautista because he was seduced by the Zack Snyder.
He got brought over to the dark side here. Yeah. So
he apparently gave up a role in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Obviously, Dave has a great relationship with him from Guardians.
yeah, James Gunn. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he gave up a role in the new Suicide Squad movie to be in that zombie Netflix heist show or movie
that Zack Snyder is
yeah
is making. Yeah.
And yeah, it was a weird about of news. Like in the article I read, they were talking about he was talking about how he gave up a role basically, which who knows what it is,
Right.
and he decided to do this instead. And apparently there's like an animated prequel that's going to be coming up to set up the movie, which I don't get any of it, honestly. It sounds very odd.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's Zack Snyder. That's just kind of what you get when you bring the guy on board, is you just get oddities all over the place. But yeah, I am actually kind of surprised by this just because Dave Bautista is one of the people who was the most vocal about like James Gunn getting fired from Marvel for Guardians 3. And the fact that he passed on this just to go star in a mediocre director's zombie movie that's really gonna probably just be like, not great, mediocre at best, probably. I don't get it. I don't get it.
No idea. But I guess in good news, Loki season 2 is already underway.
Yeah, I mean, not much more news on that. I mean, they did announce the writer, which we'll be getting to in just a second here.
Yeah.
But uh, I mean, I guess this speaks to Marvel's confidence about like how good they feel about this season. I mean, hopefully it turns out that confidence is well placed. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, don't count your chickens before they become nuggets. What if this is the next worst thing outside of Captain Marvel?
Yeah, I'm not.
Talking about Loki season 1 at least.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I don't think it will be, but it's just odd to me that they're like, this hasn't even hit. There's like not even one episode's out. I could understand if like one episode's out and people are liking it a lot.
Yeah,
Maybe two, but like when literally nothing's out, like it's not even
Yeah.
close to being released, and you're like, yeah, season 2 is already underway.
Yeah, I mean,
They do have faith in the writer because what we're going to talk about next has to do with him.
Yeah, I mean, well, and that's the thing about it here is like it's I don't know. I mean, I guess they just have a lot of faith in like the Loki brand, so to speak, even though he hasn't had like his own brand of or like his own thing just quite yet. So, but I don't know. I mean, it's like because like I remember when they put out Ant-Man and they didn't even know whether or not they were going to make a sequel to that just because it was kind of like
Right.
they were just kind of taking a wait and see approach. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see like in come May, I think, right?
Something like that. Yeah, I don't remember.
That's when the first season's coming out. Yeah.
Kevin Feige's Star Wars will be written by a heavy hitter, and that heavy hitter happens to be the one that executive produced and wrote Loki. And so his name's Michael Waldron. Waldron got a start on Community, which this is hilarious to me that literally all these people that get their start on Community or at least are on Community have turned into these
Marvel
superstars.
juggernauts here, basically.
Yeah, the Russo brothers being the main ones, but
oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, so he started on Community as a writer. He's also done Rick and Morty, and he also wrote Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So,
he wrote the entire thing.
That's what it said. I don't know if he wrote the entire thing by himself or if there was multiple people, but it says he wrote it.
Okay, all right, interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, this is an interesting choice just because I don't really associate like comedic writers with Star Wars per se, but
unless they're trying to interject that, because I mean, Marvel was that way where you had comedy writers coming in and
sure,
so I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there will probably be a little more comedy involved, but I mean, I still won't get excited for this movie until like I actually know what it's about. Here, it's like, is this going to be? I don't know, like, is this just going to be about like a Jawa that's just trying to like get home to his family or something like that? Because that doesn't sound very interesting to me. So I just need to know more details on like what they're actually going to do.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Oh, Nintendo.
Yeah.
We got some Nintendo stuff. We're outside of the DCEU / Marvel. Let's talk some video games.
Yeah.
Kinda.
I mean, just some old stories involving Nintendo just came to surface just recently. So
Nintendo could have been owned by Microsoft.
Yeah.
That was
I
weird to
mean,
me.
very weird. So I guess basically originally when Microsoft was thinking about getting into the console game, like back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, they went and knocked on Nintendo's door, and they wanted to buy Nintendo basically to say like, hey, you guys know how to make games, we know how to make hardware, let's make something work.
Right.
And Nintendo just laughed in their faces basically on the idea of that here. So
yeah,
which I find pretty funny here, but yeah, I mean,
who knows what would have happened in Nintendo?
Well, I mean, like, have you seen what happened to Rare after?
I haven't heard them put out very much stuff, if anything, recently.
Right, and that's the problem here is like they bought Rare from I think Nintendo, if I'm not mistaken. I think Nintendo owned them at the time, but basically Rare barely has made like any like notable games other than like stuff for the Connect here, and it's been like years, and they just recently put out like Sea of Thieves or something like that, which I hear is decent, but yeah, it's but they really did not utilize Rare well. So I'm kind of I kind of have my doubts that if they bought Nintendo, that this would have turned out to be a good thing, in all honesty. But uh they were also looking at buying EA, which wasn't as big as it is nowadays, but that still would have been a pretty significant purchase. But like Square Enix and Midway, the company that used to do Mortal Kombat and all that.
Mhm.
So they were shopping around until they finally got Bungie, and then they made Halo, and that pretty much sealed the deal for them.
Yeah. Yeah. What a there's some alternate universe out there that Nintendo doesn't exist because Microsoft bought them. So
Yeah, I
what a
don't-
sad universe to live in.
I am really glad. Like it's probably like 1984 out in that universe.
I mean, we're headed that way.
We are, but I mean, it's
Yeah, I see what you're saying though. Yeah,
but like it probably got started like in actual 1984. Who knows?
could have been.
Yeah.
All right, some more Nintendo news. Kanye got shut down by Nintendo.
Yeah. So,
What kind of crazy idea did this guy have?
well, let me tell you. So basically, let me give you a little bit of context first. So the news is coming from Nintendo, former Nintendo of America president Reggie Fils-Aimé, and basically states that Kanye visited an E3 booth years ago and talked to Miyamoto, and from that conversation with Miyamoto, he was able to schedule a meeting with Reggie and talk to him about his idea for a game. So, and I'm just kind of sitting there thinking Miyamoto probably had no idea who Kanye West was
No.
or something like that. I don't know. I don't see him blasting old school Yeezy on his way to work here, but
Mm-mm.
so long story short, they had a meeting. Reggie basically said that the opportunity to work with Kanye was not there. They had too many other projects at the time. That's what he said. I think there might be a little more to that than, what actually has been said.
Right.
So the game that Kanye was pitching was a game called Only One, which would have had players guide Kanye's dead mom, Donna, to the highest gates of heaven
Oh my
by
God.
holding her to the light. That's the actual description here. The game was announced in 2015.
It was announced.
It was announced in 2015, and there has been no word on it since here. So,
That's weird.
so in other words, we could have gotten Kanye's mom in Smash. You blew it, Reggie.
Yep.
Like who doesn't want to fight like Sephiroth with Kanye's mom here? I mean,
Kanye's got to hit up Bowser now.
yeah, something. But
Dougie.
man, like we're talking like some Elseworld stuff right here, man. Like some
For them to actually greenlight it though, that he either must have been throwing a lot of money at them, or it actually was sounding like a good idea. Because Nintendo's not one to just be like, yeah, let's just make a game that's crap.
Well, and the thing about this particular game, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I am like one of the most critical people of Kanye that probably is out there. Who knows? I mean, but
I thought you
that
voted for
being,
him.
yeah, but not really. But anyhow, so that being said, I mean, it's nice that he wants to do a tribute to his mom. I mean,
Sure.
yeah, I mean, sure, sounds like something nice to do here and whatever. But this sounds like an artistic game that would probably be better made by like, I don't know, an indie studio or something like that. Somebody who actually does that type of game like more frequently, because I mean, Nintendo's always been about the gameplay first and foremost. Like the actual like presentation or the the art style or whatever, usually that comes secondary to like what you're actually doing in the game.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
yeah, well,
That's all we got for nerd news.
yeah,
But
that's all we got.
we got some roundtable review. So Dorian, take it away.
So, Cobra Kai season 3, we're going to be talking about it. We're going to be going into spoilers, which, you know, if you haven't watched this already, I mean, that's kind of on you. But
Yeah,
I mean,
totally. It's been
matter
weeks. We were
matter of
off
fact,
for the holidays and gave you time.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but yeah. So we're gonna just kind of break it down pretty briefly. We're not gonna go play by play, you know, beat
No,
by beat on like what
this isn't a
happened
deep
here.
dive. This is just our kind of
No,
overview and review.
right. So we're gonna start off with what we liked here. Um, so I'll kind of lead it off, and then you can kind of jump in and
Yeah.
on like whatever you want to talk about or whatnot. But first off, we get more Johnny and his anti PC personality, anti PC, anti politically correct attitude
Yeah.
in this season, more so than we did in season 2. And I am here for it, man. Like
Yeah.
I was about it.
Yeah, I still think it wasn't as like anti PC as season 1. I still
Right.
feel like there wasn't as many jokes because I feel like this season in general was more serious.
True. Yes. I
So
would
I
agree with
wish
that.
we would have had a little bit more humor on that side of things, but it made sense for where the character was and like the arc and all that stuff that it was a little bit more serious. Like even just little stuff like the hey, why don't you throw a hash brown for me or whatever, you know, like instead of
Yeah, like
hashtag,
a
like he just doesn't know.
hash brown, me too, or
Yeah,
whatever, and then he's also like navigating like how to send a Facebook message and stuff, and like you know not trying to like you know come off as a creeper, and he liked all of Ali's photos,
yeah.
and like Miguel's like, dude, like that you don't
What you
ever do
do.
that,
Yeah.
yeah,
Spoiler alert, Miguel is alive.
yeah. Which I mean,
Uh,
come on, if you've seen any of the trailers or
he wakes up in the trailer, so I don't
yeah,
know how people could think that that was a spoiler, but
well, and it's usually a general rule of thumb, like in TV or movies, that if somebody gets into a coma, they're not going to die. They're going to come back in some way, shape, or form.
yeah.
Yeah. So we also got some pretty good fight choreography, like most notably with like you know the students for the most part. I mean, I'll get a
Pretty
little bit.
much.
I'll get to a little bit more on like what I mean by that in a little bit. But the story I think is more interesting this season compared to like last season. I felt like last season was like a little bit more of a setup, and there was a little too much like high school drama for like my taste. But and
Yeah.
then they also they actually like lean into the theory that LaRusso was the villain in the original Karate Kid movie here,
So
something like that.
what specifically are you talking about? Because I was trying to pinpoint it and I was like, I don't really know what he's talking about, but
So I mean, like there's little jabs here and there for one, where uh when he's like at that school board meeting with like all the parents talking about like you know what happened at the school, and he's like saying like you know like we need karate, like I used to get bullied, and then some guy in the audience says like I heard
yeah.
you were the bully
Yeah,
here, and
yeah,
then
yeah. I think that
so
was more fan service
sure,
though, like
sure, but it goes further when they're talking with Ali, talking about how uh she was basically saying that you're basically like
the same person.
equally responsible for like you know what happened like between you and Johnny out there here.
Right.
You both decided to like terrorize each other here essentially.
Yeah, she's the voice of reason.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. I see what you're saying with that, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty good. But then also Johnny is took up the role of Miguel's physical therapist. I don't know whatever happened to the spiritual yoga
I'm sure he was
guy,
still around, but
but I thought that was actually you know it involved some pretty funny
oh
scenes here.
yeah.
You know,
Lighting his shoes on fire.
lighting his shoes on fire. Yeah,
He
like
had like the harness
yeah,
and like pulling him up.
yeah, taking him to the concert making him look like a Make-A-Wish kid or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that was pretty
no,
funny.
no, it was pretty funny. And then Robbie's storyline, I thought this was like actually, I thought this was like actually like kind of where Robbie was kind of supposed to be headed in the first place. In all honesty, just because I kind of felt like Robbie comes from like a darker, background. It kind
Yeah.
of makes more sense for him to kind of go down the darker path because like that was like one of the quibbles I had, or like one of the qualms I had about season one was the fact that Robbie kind of turns good like really quick here. Like there was like he just started working for Daniel LaRusso and then he just basically became a good guy here. So
Kinda, yeah. I mean, he had kind of an arc in season 1, but, like, for me, this was, I think, more surprising. It makes sense because of his personality, but because of his kind of redemption in season 2, I mean, obviously, he made a mistake at the end
right,
of
yeah,
and so I didn't think they were gonna capitalize on mistake and just blow it up. I mean, there was
yeah,
stuff that happened. So, like, Johnny messed up huge,
yeah,
which
he did.
kinda led him to go down from the light to the dark side. Kreese, I don't know. How did Kreese even find out? How did even Kreese get in there
I
to
mean,
go see him?
Kreese is like just
He's
sneaky
Satan.
as everything. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
mean,
But yeah,
well,
basically, I actually like Robbie's arc a lot because it, basically he goes from, yeah, you're like, oh, this doesn't seem real, and then like his transformation to good, and then I mean, for season 2, he kind of is like more leaning, he's trying to straighten out his ways, and then season 3, obviously he's in jail and
right,
he's trying to be a pacifist and then realize he can't be in jail,
right,
and then stands up to the guy, and then the guy respects him that's in jail beating him up.
right, exactly.
Then
Yeah,
he gets out, which I'm like, okay,
yeah,
how long was he actually in there for?
yeah. I mean, we don't quite know in all honesty, but
I'm guessing it
yeah,
was a few months at least.
I would say so. I mean, yeah, it. I mean, it doesn't exactly give us like a hard uh uh timetable. I mean, I would assume like just based on like what happens, like Miguel recovering his legs, waking up from the coma, and all that. I would assume it has to be taking over the course of like a couple of months here or
Yeah,
something.
and I mean, it definitely shows the flaw in Johnny's character because realistically, I mean, I understand he has a place for Miguel, he's his sensei, but he didn't even go see Robbie. Like, he was supposed to go see him, and his pastor friend, I can't remember his name, from,
Right.
last
Yeah,
season, from the
but he
original movie too,
yeah.
which that was a funny scene too when he came in drunk, and then he just leg swept him in front of the congregation.
Yeah, no, that was
Um
pretty funny. But
But anyway, I mean, that guy tried to get him in there, and he just didn't show up because he was over with Miguel. I'm like, dude, come on, like,
yeah.
what are you
Well, and,
doing?
that's kind of always been the point of contention here is like,
Especially for Robbie.
right, yeah, because Miguel essentially has become more of a son to Johnny as opposed to Robbie, and even though Robbie's actually his son, but
Yeah,
it's and that's always just kind of been like a point of conflict between you know um Johnny and Robbie. So but yeah, it's just still kind of on full display, and it's like yeah. So
yeah. So a
but
couple other things I liked for season 3. I mean, I think overall it was a great season.
yeah.
But I like the garage fight. There's elements of it where I was like, eh. But I think that one thing that did it for me was when Daniel does like that 360. I don't know if it was like a roundhouse kick or what, but basically he does like a spinning kick and then hits the guy in the face and knocks him out. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that the fights in this season are upped even more.
Hmm.
I like the buddy cop vibe that Daniel and Johnny have for part
Like
of the season.
like at the beginning of the season and all
Yeah,
that.
like they're trying to find Robbie because at first he's not in jail; he's on the run, and so
Right.
they're trying to track him down because they want him to turn himself in to get a smaller sentence. So he doesn't really ruin the rest of his life. He's basically homeless at this point, like running around. He stole a car from the LaRusso lot. That was just some crappy van that actually Johnny ends up driving towards. Like that's his new car.
Yeah, which I thought that was pretty funny. Like, Daniel's like, "Oh, you better return that to the lot," and we all know that's not going to happen. Yeah.
I mean, it's not no cost to him, but
right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I like just the character growth in this season in general.
Yeah.
Like
No,
Hawk's character has a huge growth where you see him struggling with because basically, dude, okay, I'm gonna kind of jump around my notes a little bit, but
sure.
do cops not exist in this world? Like,
I guess not. No.
yeah,
I mean,
I'll get to that one with stuff I don't like, I guess, but
yeah.
so anyway, there's basically there's tons of fighting in this season. It's mostly gang fights is what I call them. It's the Miyagi-Do versus Cobra Kai, and then you get this new dojo that comes around, Eagle Fang,
Yeah.
which is Johnny's.
Which has like one of the worst logos I've probably
It's pretty
seen.
bad. It's funny though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like where Hawk goes, and he, they keep fighting, and he's struggling with this, and he kind of just pushes it down every time, and still does what he needs to do until the very end, where he saves his friend Dimitri from getting hurt again. And then he turns basically and joins up with Eagle Fang in that fight. Slash Miyagi-Do, because they kind of have joined forces at this point to fight against Kreese's new batch of goons, which involves the bully from season 1, which I thought was actually great to bring him back, because I think he's like that guy that still Miguel and Hawk really don't like.
Right. And well, I think that's also part of the development for Hawk, just because it's kind of showing that, or it kind of pushes him to become more disillusioned with Cobra Kai and all that.
Totally. And I mean, there's a lot of different instances where you could say that really broke Hawk. I think a big one being when they had to do the fight off to see who would stay in Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
And what his friend that was there
from the beginning
got his butt kicked by Kyler because he was using some wrestling moves, and he tapped him out basically. Kyler's the bully from season 1, but that didn't set well with Hawk, and then Kreese is basically like, you got to leave now, and that didn't set well with Hawk, and so he basically fought Kyler's that fat kid from season 1, his buddy. I can't remember his name, but
I don't know, but he's a part of Kyler's posse.
Basically. Yeah, and then Hawk just beats the piss out of him, basically. Like blood. That's that scene you get from the trailer where there's blood all over his hands, and then and they're like carry the body out. Basically, I was like, dang.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah. So like, yeah, Hawk's whole transformation of going from that to now being, back with the good guys essentially, and now there really is a bad guy. Like before, it was like there's this murky gray, area of who's bad, who's good. Right, and now it's like, oh yeah, for sure Cobra Kai is bad now. Like all these kids are just dicks, and Kreese is a dick, and but anyway, so I like what Allie did for Johnny's character. So Allie came back. It kind of gave Johnny closure on like a whole chapter of his life for whatever reason that was still open from when he was a teenager.
It did. Yeah, I mean, I do have some thoughts about that, but I'll let you finish here.
I like the actress, obviously, who plays Allie. I think she did a good job.
She did, yeah.
It was cool to like, she was kind of the balancing act between Johnny and Daniel, and she's like, you guys are like the same person. Like, why are you guys fighting? Stop doing this.
Especially considering how like this whole thing got started because of her, basically.
Right.
Yeah. But quick.
Go ahead.
The actress that plays Allie, I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but has she been doing anything since Karate Kid?
Oh yeah, she's the biggest actress out of all of them.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, I think she was in The Boys, but I'd never watched that, so she was a pretty big character in The Boys.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, but yeah, so Allie came back, and this really did bookend Johnny's relationship with her, so that he could him and Miguel's mom have had an on and off thing, and this kind of
Right.
solidified. Yep, I'm going to go pursue Miguel's mom.
Right.
And he does that to. You don't really see what happens because Miguel, it's after the fight at the LaRusso house, and he's all
Right.
beaten up, and that's when Johnny and Daniel go to beat the crap out of Kreese.
Basically, yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was cool Miguel's arc where he had to like relearn everything, and he still kicks the crap out of Kyler, using that Eagle Fang Miyagi Do mix of
Y-
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fight scene at the LaRusso house was legit. Same at like golf and stuff. I thought that was pretty good.
Right.
I really like how they teamed up to fight Kreese, and he didn't stand a chance. Basically, they're just beating up an old man. It seemed like.
just just some elder abuse, no big deal.
I mean, he definitely deserved it with all the crap he pulled this season. But
Oh, big time, yeah, no.
and then the one thing I was surprised by that they did a lot of was I actually really enjoyed Kreese's backstory.
Yeah, I mean, I am a little. I don't know. I get it. I get like they want to humanize everyone, but I'm kind of over the whole like, oh, everybody's just misunderstood, thing or whatever.
I'm not saying Kreese is misunderstood. He's definitely not. He's just you got to see why he became the way he did,
yeah,
and that he didn't start off as a dick. He just got treated like one, went to war, got treated like one, probably got treated like one later, and he became like this battle hardened just jerk off.
Yeah, just
Which
jaded and
really
all that.
has a really weird soft spot for Tori. I don't understand that at all.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll find out next season why he does, but there's a
Yeah.
whole like B and C storylines with all these other characters, which I don't really care for. But yeah, I liked seeing the flashbacks. We got to see Terry Silver in the flashbacks too.
yeah. Which I mean, that's got to be who he's calling.
Yeah, it has to be
I mean, especially considering how like
either him or Mike Barnes or someone from to help him out for the next tournament, basically.
Well, I mean, seeing how like I'm pretty sure it was Terry Silver that was in Karate Kid 3.
Yeah, that was the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got to be just because I mean they've been kind of touching base with like all the other Karate Kid movies that people may or may have not seen. They had Okinawa in this season. They referenced some stuff from like Karate Kid 3 in the last season, and now I think they're kind of like going full circle and basically putting in Johnny Silver to like kind of represent or like show the side of Karate Kid 3 essentially.
Yeah, totally. Interesting fact: Martin Cove, who plays Kreese, his son Jesse played the bully in the flashbacks that was bullying his character.
I mean, that's just great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, that's got to be Kreese" because he was being a jerk, and they kind of bait and switch you. But I was like, "That guy looks just like him," and yeah, that was his son, so it makes sense.
Yeah. But
so yeah, that's like most of the stuff I liked. I'm sure I left some stuff out, but if we ever do a deep dive on this, maybe we will eventually. But
yeah,
we'll talk about more then. But yeah.
So getting into some stuff that we didn't like, I guess I'll go first.
Yeah.
I would say the main thing I did not like this season was Sam's PTSD storyline.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I get it. It's like, you went through like a pretty big thing, but like the fact that like she's like flashing back to like every time she touches the rail, like Miguel falling, it's like, okay, Miguel doesn't even have PTSD from any of this here, and he's the one that actually got hurt here. So
True.
I don't get like where the writers were going with that. I just think that was just kind of a waste, in all honesty.
I mean, I get it from like she's broken in a different way. She's not physically broken. I mean, she has like that scar or whatever from things that weren't even sharp. But I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I mean, no, those were some pretty rubber looking spikes. I'll say that much here. But
I mean, even if they were dull, they're not gonna catch you.
Yeah, at least not that bad. No. But yeah, and then kind of continuing on like the whole critical train here. I would say there's fight choreography with like Daniel and Johnny in this season that just was not up to par. Like, and I think you see that like especially with when he Daniel's in Okinawa when he's fighting what's the
Chosen.
guy? Yeah, that guy. Yeah, we like it just seems like they're just like their moves are just like really slow and like
Yeah.
and I mean I get it like these guys are pushing 60, you
Yeah.
know,
Hmm.
but at, I don't know, it just seems weird that your students are looking better choreographed than the actual teachers here,
Right.
but um and then Allie's and Johnny's almost romance, like they almost reconnected and kissed, like, and this was like after Johnny basically had a fling with Miguel's mom here,
Yeah.
and they were pretty much on the cusp of like becoming a thing here. So I kind of thought that was like a waste of time. I mean, obviously it didn't happen, and I get like this kind of was part of like Johnny's character development, but I mean, I think I don't know. I think that was just kind of just a thrown in thing. I feel like that was just I don't know. I felt like it was a waste of time personally.
I didn't, but yeah.
But and then there are some very convenient things that happen with Daniel and Okinawa, like
Yeah.
the fact that
See, this is what I think is more convenient.
okay.
I mean, like then or like thrown in. Like I think that the whole Okinawa thing was way more thrown in than the alley thing.
No, I will agree with you on that. I mean, I get why they did Okinawa. They wanted just to kind of,
It was
touch
fan
base.
appeasement, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it was essentially fan service here,
Yeah.
but they wanted to touch base on like just this was this
Karate
is
Kid 2.
part this is a part of the Karate Kid, lore, so
Yeah.
to speak here. So this is something that we want to address and like not like just shove off into the corner or something like that. But that being said, I mean uh what I'm referring to specifically is like is when his when he's looking to get the automobile company back back in the good
Yeah.
graces here.
Mhm.
It turns out that the girl that he saved like in Karate Kid 2, like when there was like a typhoon hitting the island, uh she she's actually like a big shot at that company, and like she was just able to make that happen. I'm like, okay, that's a little too convenient for my taste.
Right.
But that's pretty much the things I took issue with in this season. What about you?
Yeah, I just cops don't exist apparently in Cobra Kai. So
Yeah, I mean
uh
they tried to like uh play that off here for the most part by saying that you know that that Kreese got a restraining order from
yeah, that was weird because
yeah,
he got slapped in the face like a punk by
yeah,
Daniel's wife.
yeah,
But I thought that was hilarious.
yeah, no, it
Um,
was.
yeah, I mean that's just Kreese playing it up, and I don't know. It was how are all the Cobra Kai kids not in jail after literally breaking into Daniel's house and assaulting all those kids?
No kidding.
Like
Yeah,
that
I
one
mean,
kid got thrown through the window
yeah, no kidding.
and like probably almost died from that. And I'm just like, are you for real? Like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So that scene kind of reminded me of like Ninja Turtles, the first movie, when they when Raph's fighting all the Foot Clan by himself.
Oh, like on top of the roof and all
Yeah, and
that.
then gets
Yeah,
thrown. Yeah.
yeah. No, I'm like, like that was like a moment where I'm like, what show am I watching?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that was pretty heavy. And then the biggest thing I can't stand Tori. I just can't stand her. I hate
yeah.
her revenge arc. I think she's a poorly written character. She's just like angst, and that's it. Like they tried to, I think, give her a little bit of a backstory, but in my opinion, it didn't do anything.
Well, and that's kind of like what I was kind of talking about earlier about like how she's got like her mom that has like the medical condition and she's
Yeah,
has to deal with her creepy landlord and stuff like that.
right.
It's like it's like, oh yeah, everybody's misunderstood. It's like I'm fine with like people just being, dicks basically for the
Yeah.
most part.
I just
I
want
don't.
Miguel to fight her and beat her up, basically, at this point, or
He,
Sam. I don't care. I think
it's going to be Sam. They're not going to have
no,
like
they won't do that.
no.
But I just think that I mean, all her beef is basically with Miguel. It has like
Pretty much, yeah.
and so, but she's taking it out on Sam, and I guess Sam kind of did fight her a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I don't know how the tournament's going to work. I'm guessing they have a girls division.
Something. I don't know.
So.
But
yeah, and then I've just never been a fan of Sam, so I didn't really care all that much for her arc and the PTSD stuff either. So
yeah, no. Same. So overall thoughts. Honestly, I think this was an improvement over the last season. I don't think it's as good as season 1. I think season 1 is still the best, but I definitely think this is I don't know, going more in the direction that I would prefer than it did in season 2. And it has me excited to see where season 4 goes, because they've really set it up for like a really cool, like, kind of finale, it feels like, for the most part, or final season. I mean, who knows if it will actually become if this will actually become the final season,
yeah,
but it's
I'm
definitely.
guessing we're gonna at least get a couple more.
I mean, it's so successful right now. I mean, it's still number 1 on Netflix right now here.
Oh
So
yeah, it will be for a while.
yeah, I mean, I would be surprised if they didn't try to, like, get more seasons out of this. And think Ralph Macchio was saying that he in his mind he had like,
Machio,
is it Machio or Macchio?
it's Machio.
All right. But no, that being said, I think he was saying that in his head, or at least, like, in terms of like how the story was written, they had like 6 seasons
Yeah,
uh
I
planned out.
mean,
Now I don't know if that will like necessarily get like chopped up into like, like season 4 per se, or what have
yeah.
you, but we'll
I
see.
mean, typically when you're writing anything, you have to write with the end in sight first, and then you just write on how you get there. So
Pretty much,
you
yeah.
have to know the ending before you start even writing the show.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm guessing they could, obviously change stuff in the seasons. They could go 6 seasons, but then all the kids are going to be out of high school. Maybe, I don't really know. Maybe not.
I mean, that could be an entire arc where they focus on like maybe their college years or something like that. I
But
don't
how's
know.
karate going to carry over to college? Or are they going to focus on the next generation? Which, we saw a little cameo from about 100-pound lighter Anthony.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Which,
he,
yeah, I mean, that's a whole thing on
he could
its
be
own.
like the next Karate Kid type of thing,
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I don't know, but that's my overall thoughts. Overall, I thought it was a good season. I'm definitely excited to see what happens for season 4. But what did you think?
I think it's the best character development I've seen in a series in a long time.
Yeah,
That's really what this season was about, was like character development and really setting up for the next big tournament.
yeah,
Because you think about even the Karate Kid movie. Season 1, there was a tournament. Season 2, there wasn't. Movie 1, there was. Movie 2, there wasn't. Movie 3, there was.
yeah,
And so, unless I'm mistaken, I'm pretty sure there was a third. Yeah, because he fought
yeah,
Barnes in that one.
yeah. He did.
Uh, but yeah, best character development I've seen in a while. Everyone got some amount of background for the most part. I feel like all the main characters, at least.
Yeah,
Or at least they fleshed out some stuff a little bit better. So I like that piece of it. Fighting overall was good and happens regularly. It's not like you're waiting a few episodes before there's some kind of action.
right. Yeah,
There's usually something happening at least every other episode, I feel like.
sure. Yeah,
Um, and I honestly, I think I said this earlier, but I'm just not the biggest fan of the Japanese Okinawa arc, because I felt like it was kind of forced. I felt like it was fan service, which is fine. I'm glad they brought back Kimiko and Chosen.
Yeah,
Obviously, Japan plays a big part in Miyagi-Do and Mr. Miyagi,
sure.
which you get to learn more about the Miyagi clan and how Chosen's actually was taught by Miyagi's brother or uncle or I don't know, cousin, something like that.
His 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 kind of rival, basically, like the guy who's kind of like the
Basically, they
bully.
both learn from the same guy. If you go down the history, the family line or something, I don't
Right.
know.
Basically, like the guy that Chosen learned from was Miyagi's dad. So,
Yeah, and
or
then the
or
guy
like,
that his master learned from,
yeah,
something
his
like that.
master learned from. Yeah,
But I mean, you do get a new move, which that happens in Karate Kid, where he basically does some chi blocking and
yeah,
makes
some
those
pressure
arms
points.
not work.
Yeah,
Um, I'm not a big fan of that. I would say, way to go, Anthony. Way to go on growing about 5 inches and
yeah,
not and losing a bunch of weight and
growing
in
taller,
soccer,
not wondering.
eating
Yeah,
popsicles. It's interesting that they kind of wrote him out, and then that's the only scene he got.
yeah. I don't think he was really in like season 2
He
all
was in
that
a
much.
few episodes. I think he was in 2 or 3 episodes of season 2. But yeah, he's just an annoying character. So I think they were just like, all right, we're not gonna focus on this kid.
Well, I mean, I definitely think they got what they wanted out of him, like in season 1, just because that's where you see the most of him, and you see him just kind of talking trash to Sam and all that stuff. And I
Yeah,
think
they're not the perfect family, basically.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then overall for me, I think it's a great season. If I had to give it a ranking, I'd say 8.8 or 8.5 out of 10, maybe 8.5. I think is a good ranking for me.
no, I think that is fair. Like I think I'm roughly around the same area. Like I'm in the 8 somewhere, but yeah, I mean, no, I think right now they got the momentum. They just need to capitalize on it.
Yeah, I wish we just didn't have to wait a year between seasons. Especially it only being it was 10 episodes, right? Or was it
Right. I
not?
mean,
Yeah, it's not a
well,
lot.
I mean, it wouldn't have been as bad if we got it on a week to week basis, but because
That's
we
what
just
a lot of people are saying, is that they like the week to week because it keeps you going,
it gives
instead
you
of just
something to look forward to,
right. And
week
I
to
wonder
week.
if Netflix will start adopting this like Disney Plus, because honestly, I really like waiting for The Mandalorian every week, as weird as that sounds. I
Yeah,
like the anticipation and thinking about oh, what could happen next, instead of just going, oh, well, the next episode's here, so we could just watch it and find out.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
It's bittersweet.
it is. It's a double edged sword. I mean, there's definitely shows where Stranger Things. I do not want that week to week. I want to be able to watch pretty much everything that show has to offer, right then and there, just because they usually leave every episode on a major cliffhanger, basically.
I mean,
But
for me, the only reason I binge watch stuff is because I don't want it spoiled. That's the only reason. If people didn't post spoilers, I would probably take my time.
yeah,
But because I know, if I go on the internet, if I do this, it's gonna be spoiled, and I don't want that.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's the
mean,
only.
it's with Cobra Kai, I I don't know. For me, I think the binge formula works a little bit better, just because I think if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be as invested, just because with Mandalorian, they knew how to kind of keep you stringed along for the most
Well,
part.
I think they'd have to change the episode format for sure. They'd have
Yeah,
to leave you with something that you need to come back for.
they would. Yeah, they would
So,
most definitely would.
I
But
think for the way they're doing their storytelling, it works. But if they ever switch it up, where they do only release one episode a week, they'd
yeah,
have to change their format. To me, it definitely I don't know the writing style, but it's like a comic book, like a good comic book, where you kind of have to know the beat you're gonna hit. Okay, what's the big thing we're gonna leave them with, so they come back for the next issue.
right.
It's that paradigm. But yeah, I still think that each episode was orchestrated well and written well. I think the guys that are, writing and directing and all that stuff have done an excellent job with Cobra Kai. And
Yeah.
I really did like this season better than 2.
Yeah.
It's really hard, in my opinion, to top season 1 because it was brand new. It was, the
Well,
rawest these characters are that we've seen.
and I think just the fact of the matter is just like, I don't think anybody thought that Cobra Kai was going to be this good.
No, it was on YouTube Red when it first started.
Right, exactly. One plus, I mean, we've been there and done that with like a lot of like 80s franchises, or like, franchises that are trying to make a comeback or a reboot to capitalize on nostalgia. We've seen it with Predator, we've seen it with Rambo, we've seen it with
Transformers,
yeah.
Ninja
I mean,
Turtles. Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it like, try and fail like, numerous times here.
Yeah.
And like, this is like one that actually says like, okay, we actually get what made this good in the first place. And now we're just going to approach it from a different angle that still is like something that you want to see. And it's still true to, the original movies, basically.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. I think overall, very, very pleased with this season. I don't think they could have done a lot more right.
Right.
So it's just hard to top after watching. I know it's completely different, but after watching Mandalorian, it's really hard to give anything above like a 9.
Yeah, Mandalorian definitely knocked it out of the park last year. So, but.
Well, that's it. Thank you guys for listening. We greatly appreciate it. Check us out on our social medias. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, to our podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those good things. Have an awesome week, and remember, everyone's a nerd about something.